Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. It's really great to see so many people turn out for today's Lunch and Learn on veteran entrepreneurship. My name is Carla Alcindor. I am the Senior Director of the UST Max Center. The UST Max Center is a micro-campus of the University of St. Thomas. Our main campus is located in the heart of Houston, and the UST Max Center is located right here in the heart of downtown Conroe. So we are very pleased to be here. We just celebrated our first anniversary of being open, and we do lunch and learns on a quarterly basis, and we're really pleased to be able to offer this very special program here today with our partners at the Honor Cafe. It's also our great pleasure to bring this into reality because it's one of our partnerships with our own Mayor Jody. This is his vision, his passion, and he's here with us today to tell us a little bit about what's important to him in regards to entrepreneurship in general, but very specifically helping our veterans, those who have served us so well, in their pursuits toward entrepreneurship or the continuation of an existing business that you may already have. With that, I'd like to introduce and bring to the podium Mayor Chikoski, who's going to talk with us for a few minutes. After that, I will be bringing up other speakers one by one. So in the form of introduction, as founder and president of MHW Real Estate, Mayor Jody is a local entrepreneur and business owner. He is also Conroe's mayor. Mayor Chikoski is known for his can-do attitude. He is open to new ideas from any source that shares his goal of making Conroe the best that it can be. If you've heard Mayor Jody speak, you have likely heard him say, "It's Conroe's time to shine." He is committed to bringing in businesses with good, high-paying jobs, providing incubators for new businesses, and developing every educational opportunity possible for Conroe's citizens to thrive economically, including members of Conroe's veteran community. With that, please help me welcome to the podium Mayor Jody.
Thank you, Carl.
You're so welcome.
You always make me sound so professional, and I appreciate it. My name is Jody Chikoski. I'm a resident of Conroe. I've been here about 21 years, actually born and raised in Marlin, Texas, between Waco and College Station. And growing up, my mother owned a hair salon, and my father was in the construction industry, and he would do anything from remodel your home to put up a ceiling fan. And I always told people growing up that my mom took care of the little old lady's hair, and my dad would take care of everything else. So kind of grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and learned at a young age. We all have our widget, and then we learned how to invest on the side. My family always invested in land and cattle and rental homes. This vision came to fruition probably about 15 years ago. I own a commercial real estate and development investment firm, and we were doing some business in Killeen, Fort Hood. A lot of you guys have probably been stationed in that market. And I noticed about 15 years ago that a lot of the vets from overseas and a lot of the vets in the United States, they were coming to Texas to retire. And the reason they were coming to Texas to retire was because of the jobs and the job creation, the economic environment, and the tax benefits, and then also the cost of housing. So we got to brainstorming 2 years ago, myself and actually a friend of mine, Morgan Luttrell, who is running for Congress right now. We got to brainstorming on how we could turn Conroe and Montgomery County in general into a incubator for veterans looking to retire from the military and then come start their own businesses. As this all came to fruition, the relationship with the University of St. Thomas was built, and realized that they had a lot of programs already in place that we could use. And what I've learned, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. My background, in my 20s, we started residential real estate companies. We started a marketing company. We had a manufacturing company we turned around and grew. We built homes and worked on many developments. And I've had a lot of ventures in my youth that were very successful, but I've also had a couple that have handed me my hat. So in the entrepreneurial world, what I've learned is if you can keep your expenses low at home and keep your overhead low, it's a lot easier to survive. Most people think, hey, it's going to take me 2 years to start my new business. And really, if you think 2 years, if you think it's going to take 2 years and you're going to need $50,000, you're probably really going to need 4 years and you're going to need $100,000. So keeping those expenses low. And I wasn't in the military, but I definitely thank you for your service and would welcome you and all your friends to come to our community. What I've learned, most people that get out of the military when they retire, they're highly disciplined, which really helps starting your own business. Second of all, most vets they got a little money in the bank. They might have $20,000 or they might have $50,000 set aside, which you're going to need startup capital. And then usually you've got pretty good benefits through the VA. And a lot of people in the workforce, they want to jump off and start their own business, but they're scared because they don't have benefits and they don't have that steady paycheck coming in. So there's a couple things you got going for you right off the bat. What I've learned in my youth starting businesses and operating my own companies is it gives you freedom. I don't know, these days in America in general, it's nice to be able to work for yourself and provide your own future. And if something doesn't go well or the market doesn't go well or your income's not going the way you would like, who do you have to blame? You have to blame yourself. And I know a lot of our service members like myself, we like to hold ourselves accountable. So recently we're partnering with the University of St. Thomas and some of their relationships, and we're going to start doing what we can to help people start their own business. And I hear people a lot of times they think of starting your own company or success from a major insurance company to a hedge fund to a landscaping company. There's lots of opportunities in Conroe in general. When you're growing at 5 to 8% in different areas, there are opportunities all across the board, from whether it be tech or marketing or as I mentioned earlier, construction or landscaping. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to get feedback from you guys on what your interests are and see how we can help you get your business off the ground. And that's what we're going to do, is help provide those tools. But the entrepreneurial world can be a lot of fun, and it can also be risky as well. Before I moved to the area, I was a professional bull rider and traveled the country on the rodeo circuit. So I've always kind of been used to a higher risk, higher return world, and that's what's always worked for me. But to get this kicked off, I'd like to open it up right off the bat. And I will tell you, a lot of times people are like, hey, you're young, you're 45, how are you the mayor of Conroe? And I'll tell you, if I didn't work for myself and have my own business and have good business partners that loved and supported me, there's no way I could be mayor. I mean, because it takes a lot of time. I mean, it ends up being to where you really have 2 to 3 full-time jobs at all times. So, personally, I don't mind working for other people. We all have bosses at the end of the day, but I like the financial freedom, and I like to get up every day and push myself. And the harder you work, the more money you make. So, all that being said, any of you guys have any questions about potentially starting your own business, or do you see anything right off the bat we can do to help you?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So as far as starting a business, so I've started my own. I have a construction business. I do remodels and stuff like that in the area. But I'm an entrepreneur, so I want to start more than one business. What is it that the program offers as far as getting a business started? Do we need to have certain things prepared, like a business plan? Are y'all helping with the business plan, things like that? How does that work?
I think the representative, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Benegas with UST.
I'm going back.
You're after me? Okay, I'm going to introduce you to Carla next, but we want to get some feedback from you guys and see what you need help with, and then see how we can guide you in the right direction. But before I leave, I'll give you all my card, and you'll know how to get in touch with me. And when you run into things, I mean, what's better than bouncing your questions off another entrepreneur? And as I said, the biggest advice I would have is, once you get started, keep your overhead low as possible so you can survive. And what I've learned in business, to go out and get a $100,000 or $500,000 to start a business, you don't have to have a $500,000. But you do need, you need $20,000 or you need $50,000 of your own money, your own equity, and you need to have your livelihood taken care of, and that might be, with your rent and enough money in the bank to survive for 2 years. That might be that, hey, I'm going to live with a friend for 18 months to get started. That might be that, hey, I'm going to live with my father and help him out on the farm a little bit while I get my own business started, and then I'll go purchase my own home. So it's a case-by-case basis, but in short, keep your expenses low as possible, and leave it in the good Lord's hands for sure. Hey, at this time, I'll introduce you to back to Carla. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Jody, for those words of wisdom and those words of encouragement. We truly appreciate you kicking off our program today. And I would now like to introduce you to our keynote speaker. His name is Mr. Chris Sadler. Some of you, I'm sure, know exactly who Chris is. He is also our host today at the Honor Cafe. In the form of introduction, let me just tell you a little bit more about Chris. Chris has extensive experience in military operations, law enforcement, security consulting, and is a successful business owner. Chris started his career with the United States Marine Corps, serving with the 22nd and 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit with special operations capacity. In his years of service, Chris was deployed to 14 different countries. He has skills and expertise in a variety of areas, such as dignitary protection and special event planning and coordination. Chris's experiences also include being a Texas peace officer, a Texas security contractor, a private investigator, and a firearms instructor. He's also CEO of WarWorks and, as I said before, the owner of the Honor Cafe. Please help me welcome to the podium Mr. Chris Sadler.
So you need to stand about right here, right?
Yes.
How you guys doing today? Very good. What branches do we have out there? Where are the Marines at? Here. All right, all right. So we're doing okay. We'll move right along. It's good to see you guys at Honor Cafe. Everybody get what they need before I start talking here. Everybody get all the drinks that they need and everything. Make sure all the troops are taken care of. I guess, if I had to talk about anything about being a veteran entrepreneur, we need to understand the why a lot better than other entrepreneurs, right? And you hear that buzzword why in entrepreneurship a lot. And the why is why you want to start a business, why you're going to do the things you do, why operationally your business will run a certain way. And as veterans, we have a pretty good idea of what we're supposed to be doing when we're in the military, right? And we all have an MOS, a military occupational specialty. We all know, from day to day what our job's going to be. I mean, sometimes we get that job that day and we have to carry it out, and that makes us better operationally than a lot of people as well. But that why is important because we get out of the military and that why goes away, right? I mean, most entrepreneurs don't start a business to secure freedom for the world. But that's what we did before, right? So it's a little bit differently, and we have to make sure that why is clear to us, and that can come in the way of a mission statement or a vision statement for a business, which leads into the back office side of a business, which veteran entrepreneurs are typically poor at, right? I mean, we're good operationally, and we carry those things out really well. What we don't carry out well is the back office side, like the business plans, like putting together good P&Es and being able to read P&Es, right? I mean, P&Ls. I mean, all the different statements that we need to look at as businessmen and be able to put together. How many business owners do we have out there already? Just about everybody. We got some guys that are interested in continuing education and to furthering their education to run their businesses more efficiently. Is that what you're looking at? So how many of you guys, so out of the business owners, lift your hands, how many guys are reading P&Ls on a monthly basis? Okay, so we had a lot of hands go up of veteran business owners, but we only had about 3 hands go out on guys that were reading profit and loss statements on a monthly basis to see what their business is doing financially, right? So you could know inventory-wise better than anybody in the world what's happening in your business, but if you don't know where that inventory is going at the bottom line, at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter at least, then there's a lot of loss on the table, or potentially a lot of loss that you don't know, is happening. So, I'd encourage you guys, and why we want to be part of this business, not to mention that the mayor's been talking about this for 2 years, right? When he came in, his heart is for veterans. He said he's not a veteran, but most of his friends, his very close friends, are veterans. His college roommate is a veteran. Excuse me, sorry guys. Sorry about that. There we go, took care of itself. So he has a heart for veterans, and before he was elected, he said, I want to help veterans. I want to make sure that this city is helping veterans, that this county is helping veterans. And I think that he stood up to his word. He's here today to stand up to that word. Asking, what do you guys need? Let's talk about it offline. I'm going to give you my personal information. How many of you guys have the phone number to a mayor other than this mayor right here that's going to give you that phone number? Right? Not very many, right? So that kind of access, that's valuable. Those resources is valuable. But I'm excited to be a part of this program in any way we can be a part of it with you guys. I think that it's tremendous. I think given that information to veterans that they need to run businesses effectively, it's so important. Because like I said, operationally, there's not many guys that are better than us, guys or gals. Operationally, we can run businesses. We can take care of it because that's what we do for a living in the military. But it's the back office stuff that we need help with. And what that leads you to do is have to trust some people. And when you don't know the information, when you don't have it, you have to trust people. And in my experience, that's where it gets really difficult. That's where you see some real loss in a business, is where you trust people. You don't know how to look at it from at least the 50,000 foot view, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, well, I thought I had this much money, and you have somebody that's helping you with the money saying, well, you don't have that much money, but I had a great couple of vacations this year that you didn't know about, so that kind of stuff can happen. So I'm excited to be part of this project. I'm excited to be able to help guys in any way I can help. A lot of that help is going to come from personal losses. That vacation I just talked about, I know that because I've helped people personally take vacations I didn't know I was helping them take, right? When I was a young veteran entrepreneur. I've started probably 12 separate businesses, 7 of which are still running today. A couple of them I sold and did pretty well with, and a couple of them I put right into the deck on fire, as they went down. Sometimes that impacted me, sometimes that impacted my entire family. And that's the kind of lessons that hopefully I can help some of you gents and you ladies learn. If I can help you, I'd like to help. And I know that that's their heart also, is to help you to make sure that you don't make those kind of decisions that impact the life of you and your families in a negative way, like having to lose your home and that kind of stuff. Because I drug my family through that. I lost a business and we lost our home because of it. And let me tell you, when you move your kids out, you really figure out that you really did some things wrong. You really figured out, man, I need to get some more education here. I need to do a better job, And so anyway, I'm excited about the project. I'm excited that Honor Cafe is a part of it. You guys like Honor Cafe? Is it okay to be in here? You feel comfortable in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those FUBU things, FUBU, that for us, by us. Why are you laughing back there, man? What are you laughing? FUBU, right? Okay. Well, that's what this is. It's for us, by us. Obviously, I'm not really the owner. God's the owner, and I'm the steward here. Hopefully running this place in the way it should be ran. But I'm going to be available for some questions here also. I don't know. Is there anything else that I should talk about from my stance? Okay. Well, I'll wait till they kick off the questions. I'll be back up here to answer any kind of questions. So think of some really good ones, some stumpers. All right, guys.
Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you for having us here today. It's now my pleasure to bring to the podium Dr. Bina George. Dr. George has been with the University of St. Thomas since 2003 and served as the Dean of the Cameron School of Business at the university from 2013 to 2019. She now serves as the university's first Chief Innovation Officer. In this role, she directs the university's initiatives for program incubation, entrepreneurship, and partnership development. In addition, she still teaches courses on business strategy and sourcing management, and her research focus has been on the outsourcing of business services, and she provides consulting services to the outsourcing community. She's also working on research focused on business model innovation. Dr. George was recognized by Houston Women magazine in 2014 as one of the most influential women in Houston, and by Houston Business Journal in 2019 as an outstanding woman leader in education in Houston. Please welcome to the podium Dr. Bena George.
Thank you, Carla. Well, I'm so happy to be here and to see all of you here. I first want to start with expressing my admiration for your courage and thanking you all for your service. You know, we all owe you a lot. So I'm really happy to be here to talk to you about what the university can do to help you achieve your dreams. But I also want to start by acknowledging Mayor Jody has gone out. No, he's there. Yes, by acknowledging two very special people in this room. Mayor Jody, please remain standing. Trisha Ruiz, please stand up. Okay. I'll tell you why we are clapping. They are Max Innovators. So the university's innovation office is called the Max Innovation Office. And one of the favorite parts of my job is to acknowledge innovators in our community. And Trisha Ruiz, the director of our Veteran Services Office, was a Max Innovator last year. Mayor Jody was honored with a Max Innovator Award just last week. And so I'm thrilled that they are both here in this room because, you know, my role at the university is to support innovation. You know, it is to help people who are thinking about innovation. And that's why, you know, what we are doing here today really makes sense to me, and I'm glad that I'm here to talk to you all about it. So entrepreneurship, as Mayor Jody was talking about, is the lifeblood of an economy, right? It can change a region because, you know, the things that you do in the region will make a difference to the people in the region. Chase was talking about, you know, why entrepreneurship, right? What is it that makes you do it? And it is because you want to be that change in the region. One of my favorite management researchers, you know, as Carla told you that, you know, there's research. One of my favorite researchers is Michael Rumelt over at University of California in Berkeley. And he talks about this idea called value denial, okay? Value denial. And the whole idea is this, that, you know, there is a problem that needs to be solved, and the solution already exists. And the best business opportunity is when you connect that problem with the solution. You know, people often think, okay, if you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to like create this brand new idea, like innovate and all of that. No, it's the best business opportunities are these value denials because the problems exist, the solutions exist, and you connect it. And when I say that, so for instance, you know, when you think, you know, as I was driving up, I was thinking, you know, a few years back, we didn't have this thing called Instacart, you know. And many grocery stores tried delivering grocery, you know, curbside pickup. It didn't work, but, you know, people knew that problem existed. And then they figured out, here, you can solve this with advances in technology. And, you know, it was just putting together two things. And those are wonderful opportunities, right? And so when you're starting to think about businesses, you know, I heard someone ask about, you know, starting multiple businesses. And that is how you start. And, you know, those make a difference where you are because the problem is where you are and you're bringing a solution from maybe somewhere else, maybe something that you've seen in some magazine, newspaper, on a TV show to your location. And that makes a difference. And I think some of you had the opportunity to hear Dr. Ludwig talk last week. And he told you all, you know, innovation is at the heart of what we do, but the reason that we do that is to make that difference, right? And that is the whole deal with entrepreneurship. So a couple of things about the program. right? So the university obviously has the resources to develop a program like that. As Carla was saying, I was the dean of the business school before. We do have an entrepreneurship center, but we do not want to bring a canned package to you all. What we want to do is to bring the resources we have and develop something here that would work for all of you. So I had the opportunity to speak briefly with Charlie and Shirley at the corner table over there, and they were, very kind in immediately sharing their willingness to work with me to figure out, some of the opportunities. Particularly interested in having mentors, because I think that's a very important part of, developing new businesses, having someone to talk to, hearing their wisdom, and, that's actually a winning formula. So this past summer, we were running an accelerator for startups. We had 24 startups in the accelerator, and they just finished their pitch competition in the end of September. So, we have developed a lot of resources on the way, including this last one, and we are very glad to bring that to you. And that includes, tools to help develop the business plan and so on. One of the things I think in these years of teaching business and entrepreneurship that has changed, right? 20 years back, the use of technology was not so prevalent. Like there was technology, but it was kind of like separate there. But today, it's so integrally tied. So I was talking to two of the instructors who will be leading different parts of the boot camp, and they were saying, we are talking on how to actually do things together. So for instance, we could have a networking event, but immediately we should turn around and figure out how to create that network in LinkedIn, because, like someone told me last day, it's the day of the posted truth. Like it has to not only happen in real life, but it has to happen virtually also, and that has become very important for business. So part of the boot camp would be business skills, but we really want to tie it also with technical skills. The other part is to bring the experience of entrepreneurs like your Mayor Jody, our host today, Chase, to y'all, so that you can learn from their experiences as well. And the last part, so 4 parts. One is the business skills, second, technical skills, third, the networking and the opportunity to learn from experienced people, and the fourth is for us to provide you with a database of resources that would help you to start your business. So that's kind of what we are aiming at and hope to bring to you, working with our Office of Veteran Success and local experts in this area. And the last part, of course, we are going to end with a pitch competition and with a cash award. So that's kind of the plan that we have. We plan to have weekly meetings, which could be panels, could be instructor-led exercises, and other activities. So that in brief is the Veterans Entrepreneurship Bootcamp. If you have questions, you can ask me now, or I think Carla has planned for Q&A at the end.
Clearly, we brought out the big hitters for you guys today, right? And there's one more to go, who is the director of the university's Veteran Success Center. She has with her here today the assistant director of the Veteran Success Center, Mr. Jay Hernandez, sitting right over there. Both Trisha and Jay themselves are veterans. Army veteran Trisha Ruiz is the founding director of the University of St. Thomas's Veteran Success Center. After her service, she earned a BA in psychology, a Master of Education in Student Development and Leadership, and is currently pursuing a Doctor of Education in Higher Education Leadership. During her service, she was a military police officer in the U.S. military's only maximum security facility and the only female military confinement facility. For the last 9 years, Ruiz has assisted military-connected students transitioning from the military to higher education. So for those of you who might have some interest in knowing a little bit more about what it would look like and feel like to go and do some education at the university, she's here to tell you all about that and how the Veteran Success Center supports our veteran students. Trisha?
Hello. As Dr. Alcindor mentioned, my name is Trisha Ruiz, and I am the Director of Veteran Services for the University of St. Thomas. Really excited to be here with you all today because as a veteran myself, I wholeheartedly believe that the University of St. Thomas is absolutely the best option for veterans who are looking to pursue higher education in the city of Houston, without a shadow of a doubt. As a fellow staff sergeant, I know that I wouldn't ask somebody to do something I wouldn't do myself. And so I want to share a little bit about my experience. So as Dr. Alcindor mentioned, I do have quite a few degrees. But what doesn't get said about veteran students like myself is that I was 26 years old with a 10-month-old on my hip at the University of Texas San Antonio, enrolling in my first traditional institution. And I had just been a staff sergeant less than a month ago. And I did not know how to mutter to the student worker that I don't know how to register for classes. I don't know what you're talking about. What is this rowdy that you want me to log into and go and select my courses from? Because my ego and my pride simply would not allow me to do that. And so what we've done, my counterpart, Jay Hernandez, 12-year Army veteran, multiple combat tours, he found himself in the exact same situation. And so Jay and I have been able to navigate our careers together for quite a while now, because what we do is we built veteran service departments to look like what we wish that we would have had when we transitioned out of the military into higher education. I wish that I'd have had somebody that told me, Trisha, don't take out all those student loans. Did you know the VA can do blah, blah, blah? And nobody told me that. And so nothing brings me more joy in helping veterans not making the same mistakes that I made. And so we bring the same concept that we had in the military of taking care of our own to the University of St. Thomas. I truly believe that higher education institutions can serve for veterans as a bridge between who we were when I was Staff Sergeant Ruiz to finding who I am now as Trisha. I was lucky that I identified that education was one of my personal top 3 values. And I was able to find passion in what I do in helping other veterans succeed at higher education institutions. The University of St. Thomas is a small, very, very intimate institution where your faculty members are experts in their field. You're not just another number. You won't sit at the back of our classrooms and just skate by. You don't get to get away with doing just bare minimum because you are truly there to get a quality Catholic education. And I think that when done correctly, the University of St. Thomas can serve as a vehicle for you, and it can help you answer what is your next big why. When I listen to Mr. Sadler talk about the entrepreneur experience and asking yourself, what is your why? That actually is a big question that we have to ask ourselves when we take off our uniform for the last time. I was no longer Staff Sergeant Ruiz. I was no longer serving for something much bigger than myself. I now had to answer only to myself and what do I want to do? I no longer had an organization telling me, this is what you need to do. This is your next mission. This is your next big calling. I had to figure that out for myself. And so I truly believe that the University of St. Thomas is at the forefront. We're the first university in Houston that has a standalone building dedicated just to veteran services. Because what we do is not just help you enroll into classes, we offer student programming like helping you file for a disability claim if you already don't have one. You already have one and you're looking for an increase? Great. I will bring experts to you, to our campus, to help you get that increase. We look at female services alone. We know that the female veteran experience is a little bit different than the male veteran experience. So we're not just trying to paint with one big, broad stroke, veteran services is just this. It looks a lot different for a lot of different people. And so what we try to do, and what we're afforded the ability to do at the University of St. Thomas, because we are so small, is that we know our students and we know what they're going through. Chances are I already know your family. By the time you graduate, I know a lot about you, and you know a lot about me too, and you know my daughter. And so that's kind of the experience, the veteran student experience at the University of St. Thomas. I'm actually going to ask my colleague Jay Hernandez to come up here and also talk about what we do, because I really think that together we have, I think, what, close to 17, 18 years of higher education experience.
Yes.
Combined. And so we've seen it all. We have seen one of our students come in and tell us, it was a Friday morning, I'll never forget this. These are experiences you don't ever forget. It's a Friday morning, I'm walking into my office, it's 8 a.m., and I have a student standing at the door waiting for me. It was not a typical experience to see him this early in my office, and he said, Trisha, I had a gun to my head last night. Okay, come on in, let's put a pot of coffee on, let's talk about it. We've seen students in orientation when we talk about all these different services that we can connect you with, and we had a gentleman who's like, oh, I don't need any of this stuff. My wife makes 6 figures, she works for NASA, she's, doing great. And then he's the same student that's sitting across from Jay telling him, my wife just left me last night, I'm staying in a hotel room, I don't know what to do next. So for us, sometimes our experience isn't that linear. We're not traditional 18-year-old students who our parents is paying for our college, and we have that foundation at home. What we're navigating looks very, very, very different, and we know that.
Agree 100%. And the other thing I want to harp on is, if you have education benefits and you don't want to go to school, come talk to us about what you can do with those benefits. Don't leave those on the table. You earn those, even if it's for yourself, your family members. And it's, we've all heard it, you don't know what you don't know. So we have some gifts and some takeaways with us here. Come chat with us, come see what you may be eligible for, come talk about disability percentages. We're here to help you even if you don't choose UST, and I tell this to everybody I talk to, every veteran. If you don't choose UST and you choose someone else and you're not getting the information you need, or you're not hearing what you want to hear, you can always come revert back to us and we'll lead you in the right direction.
Again, Jay and I were both staff sergeants, and we still carry that ethic with us of, we know that we're not for everybody. We completely understand that. But we still want to see you use your benefits. Go be your best self. Go get educated. What does that look like for your family, even if it's not the University of St. Thomas? We're going to still give you the correct information, the most accurate information, regardless of what that looks like for you and your family members. We are absolutely still here. Please, we have a lot of swag that has our number and our email address. We're accessible to you all. We look forward to working with you in your journey, whatever that looks like. We'll also be partnering with Dr. George for this Veteran Entrepreneur Bootcamp, because even though if you're not a traditional student with us, we still want to make ourselves available to you as you go through this entrepreneurship journey with the University of St. Thomas, because we still want you to walk away with those warm and fuzzy feelings that our traditional students do. So we look forward to answering any kind of questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Trisha and Jay. I want to be sure that we're clear when we're talking about using your benefits as perhaps an undergraduate or graduate student at the university. That would come into play. But the Veteran Entrepreneurship Bootcamp is a 100% completely free program that we are offering to veterans who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs or improving their entrepreneurial endeavors. And that doesn't require any benefits or any cash outlay whatsoever. So I just want to make sure we were clear on that before we go into the Q&A period. We do have time now to bring back forward those folks who have already spoken to you. Unfortunately, Mayor Jody did have another obligation he had to dart off to, which is why he offered the opportunity to answer questions earlier. So with that, I'm going to let these guys come back forward and answer any questions you might have.
Thanks. Who's got the first question? Let's hear it.
we keep talking about the BootCamp, the Entrepreneurship BootCamp program. How long of a program is it? 3 months, 6 months, year, 2 years?
No, it's 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay, so it's very short.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
And what the boot camp's going to give you is, I harped on the back office stuff, and I want to expand on that a little bit. And I also want to, I guess, encourage you to, as an entrepreneur, you're going to be pushed from different resources or mentors into how to run a business. And all of us, that have been out of the military for some time have worked for other businesses. Most businesses have a model where the protection ends somewhere in the management level, in the structure of the management, right? So sometimes the C-suite, sometimes it goes down to the middle managers. We as veterans have in our DNA to protect all the way down to the lowest level, right? Because that's how we're taught. Well, that's the right way to run a business, consequently. And it may cost you a little bit because you'll run businesses. There's going to be some liability that you'll see that other businesses can root out because of the way they protect their structure. But when you run a business where you protect down to the lowest level, that'll be a business where the employees are happier, where the customers are happier. And ultimately, that's why we're supposed to be running businesses. That's why we're supposed to be doing anything. Whatever product we put out is supposed to make people happy. It's supposed to bring some type of fulfillment. And the people that work for you, they want to be fulfilled as well, right? And you want to be fulfilled. You don't want it to be where you go to work every day, hating what you're doing, And I have this talk with my employees. I'm like, this isn't a scavenger hunt that you're on in life where you're going around, well, one day I'm going to all of a sudden kick over the job that I love. I said, you have to create the job that you love, right? You have to make that happen. And you can start right here, or you can get fired from here and start in the next place. Where do you want to start at to find that job? But so, run businesses the way that you feel that it should be run in your gut, but also use the skills that this boot camp is going to provide you, the back office skills to know how to watch the business. I mean, you're going to have to, if you're not a financial guy, like we have Mr. Dennis Bush here, who is a veteran, an Army veteran, Vietnam era Army veteran, who is a financial guy, right? I mean, he worked for Deloitte in the 60s. He's got, this guy, he knows all the back office stuff. And so he's a lot more talented than most veterans you run across, because that's not the typical story. If you don't have that kind of skill, then you have to pay somebody that has that skill. But what you do need to do is be able to look at their work and oversee that work and know at least what's going on. You need to read the reports that they're generating for you and be able to actively say, okay, well, I have a question about this. I have a question about this. If you just don't know, then that's where the danger lies for you as an entrepreneur in business. So, I want to encourage you guys, run the business that you want to run in your heart. If you think it should run that way, I mean, obviously, and find good mentors. The mentors in your life will keep you protected, right? And listen to them. And they'll tell you, you say, well, I really want to do this. And they'll say, well, I really don't think you should do that. And you should listen to that, right? Because sometimes we have some crazy ideas. But
I just wanted to add 2 things to that. One is, the founding fathers of the University of St. Thomas, the Basilians, they gave us 3 values. We call it the 3 characteristics: the goodness, discipline, and knowledge. And we try to bring that into every program that we develop so that, that becomes kind of the underlying theme, and we try to keep that in there. So that kind of lines very well with what you were saying. The other part of, something that I wanted to say, and I kind of alluded to it before, when I taught like 20, 25 years back, the knowledge, was kind of constrained more or less to what was in the books, like what was available right then and there. But what we are finding now is that, okay, you finish a program, let's say the Veterans Entrepreneur Bootcamp or an undergraduate program, you can't stop. You have to continue to learn. Right? I mean, there are new tools that could help you to do your job in a different way, in a better way. And one of our plans with the program, and actually any program that we run, is to prepare students for that lifelong learning, to be able to figure out where you should go to find resources. And so that's one thing that's, we think is really important, to kind of make you prepared for that, be successful on that entrepreneurial journey, because, you might need new tools, but you need to be able to find those tools yourself. How will you be able to do that? So that's also important for us. Next question. Yes, please.
Are the classes online, in person, or both?
So we are looking at a hybrid model, particularly when we have panels. The interaction is much easier if everyone is in one place. But, like we are doing today, we would obviously record it and then make it available. So the plan is to have at least some of the sessions online because it does provide convenience. And I guess technology has come to that stage where you can actually do it quite effectively, particularly with all the learning from the pandemic. I think, technology in higher education has come to that level where we can do it really well. So we will take advantage of that. But UST, as Trisha was saying, it's a Catholic university that really believes in the personal connection. So we would like to do some of our sessions here with Dr. Alexander and Brenda's convenience. Yes.
Thank you for what y'all doing again. My name is Corey, and my question is going to be for Chris. Can you speak unapologetically to the mental toughness needed to be an entrepreneur? And my second question for you is, can you go through the topics of what this program consists of?
Unapologetically about mental toughness, where you better be as tough as you ever were. How about that? Is that unapologetic enough? I mean, if you think that you're getting into running your own business because it's easy. I mean, a lot of businesses get started because, people are sitting around and they say, well, I think I can do this as well or better than this guy or gal that I work for, right? That's how probably, 80% of businesses are created. That doesn't mean that you have everything that you need to get it done, but courage and heart are a big part of that, which most veterans are suited for, right? You come out of the military, you have plenty of that. Typically, you have plenty of heart, you have plenty of courage, you've already made decisions and are used to making decisions in an environment where people's lives are in the balance. So, like here in this cafe, when we run this cafe, chances are the decisions that we make in here aren't going to cost someone their life. So as far as I'm concerned, this is all gravy in here, right? So, but I still use that mental toughness that I captured in the Marine Corps to make decisions like as if they were on that level. And then I guess, where the mental toughness is going to come in play, and if I was going to talk about it and not have to apologize, I'd say it's working with civilians. You come out of the military and you're used to working where people understand chain of command, rank structure, doing their job, being efficient because people's lives ultimately do hang in the balance. And then you go into a work situation where people they don't think like that. They don't feel like that. And then, you can't make them. You can't change them to, I think Benjamin Franklin has a quote that, a man forced of his opinion is of his opinion still, right? You can't force them to think any different way. All you have to do is find out what their traits, their strengths, are, and you have to use those in the team building that you're trying to do and put that together. And, something else that's hard for veteran entrepreneurs is saying goodbye to people that aren't the right people in your business because we're loyal. Right? We're loyal to each other. We're taught that from the very beginning, from whatever boot camp you went to. We're there for each other. We never leave a person behind. And so it's hard sometimes to say goodbye to a person. But, sometimes that's what it takes. The person that gets your business to $10,000, profit is sometimes the same person that's going to get your business to $1 million in profit. And sometimes along the way you have to say goodbye to some people. And that's difficult for veterans. And so that's where that mental toughness comes in. You have to use that mental toughness all the way through, and you have to hang on to all the things that made you, the proud veteran that you are, and drag that into your business. Because ultimately, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to say this as well, as I get older and my skill set diminishes, I need a stronger community around me and my family. And so I need those strong veteran businesses. I need that. So, and your second part?
On the topic that's going to be
Yes.
covered in the program.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can kick that, doctor.
Yes. Well, thank you for asking that question. I didn't want to, spout out a list during my speech. Okay, so remember I said there are 4 pieces, right? So the one piece is the digital skills. So in the digital skills piece, we have an expert in Microsoft skills. So he's going to bring some of the Microsoft virtual literacy training. But beyond that, we wanted to include a CRM system like HubSpot that's freely available. So we wanted to include that, some freely available inventory management tools, and one very important thing, picking up on what you and Mayor Jody also said, we are trying to include, we are planning to include QuickBooks training, so that because that's basic training that we find that most entrepreneurs need, and there are templates that can help you to work through some of the important questions that you might have. So that's the digital skills part. Okay, so now with the business skills, we'll primarily base it off the business model canvas, because there are 9 elements in there. So we'll start with the value proposition, how do you develop like your mission, vision, things like that. Then identifying your customers and creating that product market fit. How do you reach your customers? Then looking at your own internal operations, what resources you need to have, what partners you need to have, and then looking at revenue streams versus managing your costs. So those would be the elements of the business training.
Yes, sir.
Couple questions. First, I want to say thank you to the keynotes, the host, our public servant who had to go. But some of them were answered. Is there a limit to how many people you're trying to have in this cohort?
No, I think we are not planning a limit on the number. Ideally, as I said during the speech, I would really like to have mentors, and I know mentors like to work one-on-one. Probably that is the only limit that we would hit. But in terms of these modules, since they are delivered online, and we are not limited by space either. So
no limit.
No.
As much participation.
Yes, and this is not the only time we plan to do this in Conroe. So, yes.
Is this the first time you've done
Yes, this is the first time we are doing it for this community here in Conroe. We have done entrepreneurship boot camps on our main campus a few times.
veteran entrepreneurs?
Not veterans, but other groups.
Gotcha. And then there's the entrepreneur program, and then there was talks of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's some degrees of separation there.
There is.
And so I'm just trying to understand how, with St. Thomas, you've got an innovation program there. If you're, part of this boot camp, is there, a continuation? Is there going to be an extension to the program where some of those resources are made available, or is that like a one-on-one deal? For me, we're developing a technology.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the Marine Corps, there was no technology. Right? You had to find your own way around,
Mm-hmm.
use a map. Now, like you said, the digital age, we've kind of evolved, and on a daily basis,
Right.
it's on this force multiplier that, it's unquantifiable. So, having to get involved in that, has been a learning curve. But trying to develop a technology as a veteran-owned business, is there going to be specific resources available in this program? And if so, can you?
Okay, so there are a couple of things. Dr. Alsanto, Carla and I have been talking about, some of the resources that we have on our main campus to make it available to you all, through the library, through our IT department, our career services department, and so on. But more in response to the second part, the tech resources. So one of the things that we do at the University of St. Thomas, we actually work with external groups in our classes, where we can help, where actually what we have done is help entrepreneurs develop their ideas. So somebody comes to a class and says, we invite them to a class and they say, okay, I have an idea to, this actually just happened. So I have an idea of how to develop a training program for a group of individuals who have special needs. I have the idea, but I don't have the tech skills, the programming skills. I need a couple of people who can help me with that. And so the class actually took it upon themselves to develop different parts of that. So that kind of project-based approach is also possible. So, you know, is that what you're asking, or is
It sounds like the one-on-one, case-by-case basis.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah.
It potentially is available. And,
Yes, yes.
And I guess the other question I had, is there a continuation to the boot camp? Like, you know, being higher education, continuing education is a big piece of
Yes.
this. I don't think in 8 weeks, you know, you look around the room, it's a very diverse group, right?
Yes.
It's a unique community. I grew up, my first job was a tree farm working for Judge Clyman. I worked for Toby, the previous mayor, you know. So, you know, we all have different skills, with hospitality to, you know, horticulture. You know, everybody's going to bring something unique. But is there kind of going to be a continuation program after the fact, you know, to help propel whatever skills we develop?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the pitch competition, I think maybe there's some funding there, and I think that's, you know,
Yeah.
it's going to help a lot of people. But, you know, the continued education
Mm-hmm.
is equally as important. That support, you know, network and that ecosystem. Is there a plan to have some of that after the boot camps?
So, you know, there are different ways we can do. We have a McNair Entrepreneurship Center, which is actually within the innovation portfolio itself, and the center has resources that we make available to our students and our alumni. So, you know, that is one, you know, option, one opportunity. But beyond that, you know, we didn't really think a lot about it before, but there are opportunities where we could bring speakers on specific topics, you know, continue to build on those database of resources that I was talking to you about. You know, so there are definitely opportunities where we can see like how we can take the next step forward. But I think I didn't want to kind of, I guess, write it all down in like unerasable ink before I talk to all of you, because the program that we want to bring to Conroe for the veterans here is a program that should fit your needs. And so that's why we really wanted to hear from you all and also involve local experts, you know, about the needs.
And I think that's a valid point, right?
Yeah.
And I think that my experience personally, and my experience working with veterans, is that whether it's continued education or continued care, it's extremely valuable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I guess that's why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, yes.
Right? So in this 8-week boot camp crash course, we're all going to learn a lot, and then it becomes how, you know, you've been in business for a long time, you know, and having that group around you, as you stated, to keep in line, stay in line, continue to
Yes.
reinforce that. I think will be valuable with what you're trying to do.
I think about this as a continuing education process, right? I mean, that normally you'd have to pay for to develop. So the boot camp is gonna like she said, they'll have a QuickBook module that teach you how to navigate through QuickBooks, right? And I'm sure probably going to put some stuff in front of you where you'll be able to access QuickBooks for a business. But that doesn't mean that you need college algebra, right? So some guys in here will just need QuickBooks. If some guy needs college algebra past that, well then he needs to come talk to them about becoming a student at the university and getting that help. But what this gives you is resources. So, I mean, in this program, you know, I'm sure that like you have some pretty specific needs for technology that you're developing that you know, you may need labs or some things that you know, need to be put in front of you. So what this does is get you in front of very educated peoples that have, you know, doctor in front of their titles, that you say, well, this is what I need. And they say, well, I think I know where we can talk to someone. And, you know, when you get to that level, there's not a lot of promises on what people can and can't do in their programs, since it's other programs. But, you know, that's where that case by case comes in. But, you know, think of this as continuing education to get you a broad look at things that you may not be looking at in your business. And then from there, if you need some further education or some more pointed education, then, you know, you may look into becoming a student again. And, you know, for those of you who haven't used up benefits, it's a beautiful thing to have money behind you. You know, that's one of the promises that was made to us as when we went into the military, was that they'd take care of us on the backside with some education. And and especially if you went into the military from Texas, you even have more opportunity than guys that went in from other places. You know, once you get rid of the GI Bill, you have other options available to you. So, and available to your children. If your children are in your businesses, you can think of it like that as well. It may help you point your children to some education that they may need. So, and your benefits are available to your children as well. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunity there.
Two things. That's not always true about your children. If you're of a certain age with Montgomery GI Bill, that's a whole. You're done after 15 years. You
Right.
don't use it, you lose everything. Anyway, so it sounds like to me y'all are trying to take up the slack from Lone Star, alleviating the SBA and the Small Business Incubator. Is that a fair thing to say?
I don't think that they'd be taking up slack. What I think is just another program, another resource to
That
you.
one no longer exists.
Right.
They closed that down. Lone Star's going to a 4-year college model, so the SBA doesn't deal with that and the small business
Right.
incubators.
Well, so for instance, Texas Vet has a lot of programs you can go to. They have classes that you can apply for. I don't know how much you evaluate Texas Vet, or if you know what.
I'm a certified Texas veteran.
So
you know, all of the
so you know that.
wonderful things they,
So you know there's a QuickBook class you can take through Texas Vets if you want to go into Houston and take it. This is a resource that's being put in our community for veterans, and so, you know, that's squarely where that lies.
some of those Texas veterans incentives are for somebody that entered the military from within the state of Texas. Some people that moved here, like myself, are not eligible for all of them, but some of them.
Right.
We can incorporate for free in the state of Texas. So if you're looking to incorporate, you can go through a little light process and you can do your articles of incorporation at no cost. I think there's a time limit on that coming up, but it's you know, plenty of time.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff that's offered. And
Two more hands went up, and we're really running short on time, so those 2 questions, and that'll be the end. Here and then back over there.
Who's next? That's all. We'll talk about it.
We can talk offline on it too. We can and that's, you know, I think that this group, you'll put the information together for this group to be able to talk to each other. And so if there's further things that people have questions, I mean, that's part of this is networking. So what was the next question? Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I have actually 2 quick questions. One is, I was wondering, Trisha, if you could touch on the Yellow Ribbon program, because I used that going to UST, and it made a difference for me as part of why I chose the school, and that might be really valuable for anybody who is looking at furthering education, but is worried that the GI Bill will not cover their full tuition.
Sure.
Secondly, will the boot camp cover all business structures? So my spouse is running our LLC, and I'm starting a nonprofit for veterans. So we have different needs for our businesses. You know, nonprofit runs a little differently than a, you know, S Corp, C Corp, et cetera. So I'm wondering if the boot camp would be beneficial for both of us to take, or if it won't really touch on the nonprofit side of things.
So in regards to Yellow Ribbon, the University of St. Thomas is a Yellow Ribbon institution. One of the amazing things about UST is we do not limit the number of Yellow Ribbon recipients that we allow into UST. So if you look at other private schools in Houston, they do limit. They'll say we will bring in 5, 7, sometimes 20 veterans on Yellow Ribbon. We actually do not put a limit on ours. If you are post 9/11 eligible, that makes you Yellow Ribbon eligible. Let me rephrase that. If you're 100% post 9/11 eligible, that makes you Yellow Ribbon eligible, which means you're automatically in our Yellow Ribbon program, no out-of-pocket cost for our students. So yes, we are a Yellow Ribbon school, and we do not limit the seats.
So that's only veterans that have separated post 9/11?
Yes, sir. So to be eligible for Yellow Ribbon, so Yellow Ribbon is not a standalone program. Yellow Ribbon is an extension of post 9/11 GI Bill. So they're not 2 independent programs. So in order to be eligible for Yellow Ribbon, you have to be 100% post 9/11 eligible.
So the second question about different types of organizations. So when you look at the business model canvas, right, the 9 elements, there are pieces in there where the nonprofit versus the other forms of, the regular forms of business differ. So what we will have is kind of a, breakout sessions that address the different areas. But then there are some areas where obviously, like the value proposition, how to reach your customer, all of those kind of match.
Final question here.
So mine's a business specific So I'm at a crossroads now. I need a solid influx of money, and I'm making just enough to cover my bills and everything. But in order for me to open up my next step in the shop to get bigger, I'm looking at either an investment or a loan. I hate the banks, so I'm trying to avoid the loans. And I'd rather go with an investor that I can use, that maybe they can grow with me and keep doing that. I don't know what y'all's preference is. Nobody can really give me an answer. They just kind of say, yeah, figure it out.
I think you got some pretty specific individual preferences. I mean, personally, yeah, if you can, and I think it depends on what the contract looks like from each person, right? Because just because you find an investor doesn't mean that you may get an investor that's pretty sophisticated in the contract that he has you sign, and you may sign some kind of clawback clause where if you don't meet certain benchmarks, he owns your business, right? And that happens to people. So, the bank is fairly straightforward, is what I'd tell you. And you may not like the bank, but it's straightforward. We're going to give you this much money, and you're going to owe us this much money, and if you don't pay it, this is what happens, right? Whereas an investor, depending on the program, it can have other reactions. And there are veteran programs out there, and offline I'll share a couple with you where you can go and apply, and they have pools of money that, they evaluate your business to see if they want to pull you into the program, and then they'll invest into your business from a nonprofit situation. So we can talk about that, but yeah, those are pretty tough crossroads to be at in a business. So, and you just have to evaluate for yourself what risk you're able to take at that point, right? So that's a tough question.
Another big thank you to all of our speakers today. You have really brought life into this, what was just a few months ago an idea, of a wish, a desire, a vision that Mayor Jody and the UST Max Center had to bring this type of program to the Conroe area, Montgomery County veteran community. So I thank all of you for being on our panel, on our program today. And I also want to do a special shout out to Marcy Phillips, who has been so helpful to us from the beginning in making the connections within the veteran community and guiding our efforts along the way. She has a unique perspective, of course, being a veteran herself, and that was just invaluable to us. We also had a lot of help from the mayor's office in the form of Miss Elizabeth West, so thank you very much for your help as well. And for everyone, there's so many people that are behind the scenes. It's not just those few of us that you've seen up front today. So, and we intend to continue in that manner. That's what the UST Max Center is all about. So we are here to connect with the community, to find out what the needs are within this community, and some of those needs we're able to fill. And so it's always a good day when we find a way to make that connection. So this is a good example of that. I'd like for your benefit to point you to our website, where one of our previous Lunch and Learn recordings is on avoiding common mistakes in small business financing. It was a very, very good presentation from a financial person that's been in banking and on the lending side of things, not within traditional banking scene. And I think you might find some words of wisdom. USTmax.com. We have a long list of pre-recorded events, both lunch and learns and other types of programs that we've offered in this past year that we've been open. And so that's available to everyone. The other thing I would like to do, and we'll just take a few more minutes of your time because we have run a little bit long, is to bring forward my coworker, Miss Brenda Benegas, who is our recruitment counselor at the UST Max Center. We are primarily an on-site support center for online education, but we do a variety of programs to interact with the community, and she'd like to tell you about some of the things that we have upcoming, and then we'll wrap up the program after that.
Alrighty, so just very quickly, my name again is Brenda Benegas. I'm a recruitment counselor here. First of all, thank you for joining us. If you have not been to our center, please visit us. We are right in the corner of Main Street and West Davis. And so what we do is we promote our online degrees that our main campus has in Houston. We have a variety of master's, associates. I want to highlight our Associate of Applied Science and General Business. So if any of you are interested in continuing your education, that is a great program that is completely online. We just had an information session that's going to be on our website pretty soon. Also, please check out our website. You can find out about upcoming events, for example, our Lunch and Learns. On our website, ustmax.com. We're also on social media at USTMax Center on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so you can find us anywhere. And lastly, if you are interested in the Veteran Entrepreneurship Bootcamp, we do have a sign up. And if you're not interested yet, but maybe thinking about it, we also have flyers. So be sure to take one on the way out. And we also have some swag, as Trisha and Jay mentioned. Please feel free to take any of the swag that we have on the table. We have our business cards and our brochures as well, so that y'all can follow up. Please feel free to contact us if you have any other questions after this. So again, thank you for joining us and have a great day.